What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio. The Mako Rugby Roundup.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mako Rugby Roundup. I'm your host, Chris Butler, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Les Edwards and Sean Davies. Good to have you back, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Be back another week.
Recording at a slightly different time than we usually do. It's sort of almost after work time at the bar, and the music's going, the atmosphere is there. There's actually patrons in the bar, so I hope that they can
I love it.
keep up with us. And our very special guest is Tasman Mako player, Levi Amua. Great to have you here, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, cheers.
Nice to have you in. Let's jump right into it. This week we're going to be talking NPC, the Rugby World Cup, and we catch up with Levi about his career so far and the time with the current Tasman Mako and the season so far. Our venue sponsor is O'Shedigan's on Bridge Street, and if you're looking for a place to talk rugby or just to enjoy some great company, O'Shedigan's is a spot to be. And let's get on with the shed chat. What's going on this week?
Yeah, Chris, it's another week into the Rugby World Cup. Of course, we had All Blacks in Namibia over the weekend, which was a good time. Like I said last week, we went on for a full day of poker onto the Warriors in the evening. So it was quite a big day by the end of my shift on Sunday morning.
Yeah, I bet it was.
It was good times, and yeah, preparing again this weekend. The All Blacks aren't in action, but a couple of big NRL finals on, so there'll be
yeah, that's right.
Plenty of energy around still.
Our island in South Africa, so any South Africans or Irish listening, O'Shedigan's will be open.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll be Sunday morning, that one, so we'll be ready to go.
And how'd you get on the poker, mate?
Look, I'm very good, mate. I won't lie to you. I won't.
He avoided the question. My question was, did you win it?
No, I think I ended up fourth.
So that's all right.
I start feeling guilty towards the end, and
I'll let the others win.
Yeah, it's getting too close to the Warriors kicking off, so I've got to get out of here. Priorities.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad weekend after a depressing last weekend. So a good win
much improved. Yeah,
by the Wars, and even the All Blacks got a win as well. So a good weekend. Come and check them out. O'Shedigan's on Bridge Street, the Bunnings Warehouse NPC, and on Sunday, the Tasman Mako beat Counties Monaco 27-17. I saw some of the scores. First of all was 7-0, and then I think it went to 10-all. And I thought I hit after that. I thought, no, I'm not going to watch it. And then bang, there you are, 27-17. So, Levi, what were your thoughts on the game? Good day?
Yeah, it was. We sort of looked at the forecast of the game and knew it was going to be windy. But just before kickoff, I mean, it just picked up.
Yeah,
really picked up. And, we were a bit nervous there, wanting to win the toss to play with the win in the first half. But yeah, we actually did win the toss. And we thought, look, we'll play into the win first.
Right.
And so we can take advantage of the second half, whether we're up or down. So it was tough, really tough first half. Pretty much couldn't kick or anything.
So who's got the local weather knowledge there? How did you know the wind wasn't going to turn? Was that the Blenheim boys saying, no, it's going to stay here?
Yeah, I definitely. I think Corny would have known. Yeah, he's from Blenheim. So
yeah.
It was a risky move, but the boys.
Levi, the right move. That wind was positively howling from the northwest. So, the old Grove Road Tavern corner was the place to play to in the second half, and you did that.
Yeah.
But I've not seen wind like that in a long time.
Massive.
Yep.
Yeah, it must imagine trying to defend against that. But and I think that's the beauty of that first half. The boys dug in, and you knew once they were pretty close at half time, or I can't remember what the score was at half time, but yeah, you sort of thought with that wind coming back downhill, you're looking pretty positive after that.
So take me through the game, boys, because I was moving house for a family member. So unfortunately I missed it. So what were your thoughts on the game, Les?
Oh, I thought it was an excellent game by the Tasman Mako. Absolutely a top-notch performance playing into the wind. Hey, is it easier to play into the wind with the pass-catch game? Like, when you're playing with it, the passes can go away from your hands, but with the playing into it, the ball comes into your chest, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely. If it's directly, playing into it, then I guess it is easier. But it was coming from, I guess,
corner to corner.
Yeah, from a corner. So, but left to right was okay, but right to left wasn't.
Right.
So, it was tough, and it was I'm not going to lie, it's one of the hardest games in terms of the conditions with the wind I've ever played, and a lot of the boys would say that too. So
you could see in that first half, yourself and a few of the boys would get pretty clean line breaks, and then pretty hard work still running. Full noise,
like running in treacle.
Anyway.
Yeah, you thought you'd be running your full pace, but when you're looking back at it, it wasn't that quick.
But it was a massive first half effort, I think, just to stay close. What was the score at halftime? Was it tied at halftime?
10-all,
wasn't
10-all, wasn't it? Yeah. So you knew once we were coming downhill with that wind, it was going to be at least advantage our way.
So the difference in the second half, was it the wind or was it your play that came into play then? Or
I think the wind did play a big part of it, and obviously counties had to play against the wind in that second half. So they couldn't really kick, just like we couldn't in the first half, and all our game drivers, our Mako Springer at the back was just putting it in the corners and just building pressure from that. So
not kicking it too hard because it was going a mile without putting a full boot on it.
Exactly.
I thought Alex Vankerville had a blinder in the midfield with you, Levi. He was outstanding and really impressed with Setalecki Baker in the 7 jersey. So he did a lot of good work at the breakdown. So all in all, top-notch performance.
And there was a couple of debutants as well, is that right?
Yes.
Did I read that correctly?
The local club players are Hunter Lepine from Kaharangi and Graham Urquhart from Nelson Club. So you'd be proud of them.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Graham's been around in the Mako for a while, and for him to get his debut was, super happy for him. All the boys were too.
Nice, good stuff. Okay, then the attention leads to this Saturday, 4:35 versus Canterbury. So, it is Canterbury, isn't it? Yeah. So, what are your thoughts about that game? So, what did they do this weekend? I didn't actually catch that score. Did Canterbury
beat Southland?
That's right, beat Southland. Yeah. So, but week before they just went down to Counties Monaco, and the league this season's been really tight. I mean, there's just been some teams that you think are on a roll, and all of a sudden, one of the teams that aren't in form, get the win. North Harbour had a big win over the weekend as well. I think it might have been Manawatu, and yet Manawatu over that storm week, they had a blinder until they met the Mako. So, it's been a real and different season. So, what are your thoughts going into that Canterbury game?
It's Canterbury, so it's it's going to be a big game, and down there is even tougher to get a win down there. So, we're preparing like any other week, but they've got some really good guys over the ball, players over the ball. So it's crucial we get our carries right and getting our fast ball around the ruck.
Yeah, so we had a chat with Hugh Renton last week, and he was talking about getting back to the basics and just making sure all the detail is done correctly. And especially against a team like Canterbury, you got to do that, the hitting the rucks, the cleans, creating lightning quick ball. Yeah, so I assume that's what's been talked about all week leading into this big game.
Yeah, definitely. They've in terms of their backs, they've got a lot of firepower back. Dallas McLeod around, and they've got experience like Ryan Crotty, who's there. So they definitely go either way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was interesting. We did talk about that in relation to form, where especially after that Northland game, and we were talking about the All Black game as well against France. And I think Hugh was saying it's just amazing how those little things in your game, those little disciplines and improvements that you can make, certainly in your set piece and all those kind of things, if you can nail those, it's amazing the turnaround effect it can have at the other end.
Definitely, yeah. You don't want them to take those kicks for advantage for penalties. So we look back at the games that we've performed and won by a good margin is we've been disciplined. So keeping Canterbury out the game would be key for that. So
right, cool.
So you're always optimistic, mate.
Yeah,
what do you reckon,
mate? And 2 versus 3, it's going to be a pretty difficult game. And I actually with all the focus on the Rugby World Cup lately, this one slipped under my radar. This will be something to do Saturday afternoon. Should have mentioned. So yeah, we'll build something into that for a bit of a crowd at the bar as well. I think this will be match of the weekend for sure.
Yeah, it'd be a good game, won't it? So tell us about the structure towards the end, Les. I just noticed on the table selecting the top 8. So is it a similar finish to, dare I say it, the NRL, or is it just straight top 4, or how does that work?
I don't believe 1 and 2 get a rest, but I could be wrong. I don't believe so. I think it's 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7. Sound about right?
Game by game.
They don't look far ahead, eh? They just go game by game.
And I think that's it. It changes that often.
Yeah.
Okay, and but would that be a straight knockout then? So if 8 beats 1,
oh no,
one's
the top
out,
4
or
teams would get 2 bites at the
two
cherry,
bites of the cherry. Yeah, you'd imagine.
But hey,
are you making this up?
yes, I am. Because I should go and grab my phone.
Tell us next week.
Well, we haven't really been focused on it, and I've always been quite used to the top tier and the bottom tier, and now we've just got a straight league. It's like a Premier, English Premiership league, and
it's quarters, semis, final, so it's got to be straight knockout. Hey,
well, of course it will.
Talk about it next
right.
week, as you say.
We'll have to do our homework, but geez, I mean, that would be tough if you got the minor premiership and you got tipped up.
Yep.
Which we've seen can happen this year by the number 8th place. So
that's some homework for you, Les.
Yeah, thank you.
I suppose the important thing though is home ground advantage. So the top 4 would get home ground advantage.
Correct.
I imagine
Playoffs at home for the top 4.
Yeah, so that's what you'd want to try. Not that you're looking too far ahead,
Don't,
game by game.
Far be it from us to give out false information on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. Just goes to show we don't really know what we're talking about. Let's look at the Rugby World Cup. And last Saturday, New Zealand 71 beat Namibia 3. And so on the whole, what do you think of the game, Sean?
Yeah, much better. I mean, well, it's tough to plan around. I think a few of the players really stood out. Mackenzie and Cam Roigard at halfback, I feel like really stood up and took a bit of the opportunity and enjoyed the game time. But yeah, I think the obvious concern is around Ethan de Groot, how long he's going to miss and what really went wrong there. So I see something about his can get a 3-week suspension downgraded to 2 if he does tackle training.
Yes, he is going to tackle.
Is that right?
Tackle school.
Yeah, it's official now. He'll be missing for 2 games.
Attending tackle school.
So it comes back for the
who runs tackle school?
The guys who really know how to tackle.
They're real good.
Some guys from IRB.
Nice.
See the in-depth knowledge we go into here on the show here, Levi.
Who should do tackle school if it was in the Mako team? Who would be the best person to teach tackling?
Jane Christie, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
Well, players, you've got Ethan Blackadder.
Yeah, true.
Get Ethan on.
Get Ethan on there.
Suggest that.
So tell us about that scenario when you're in that situation. So it just looked to me as though a big forward was coming at him and he braced himself and he put his shoulder in. And it was a funny angle. It was kind of, he was coming from the side. They're claiming, of course, that, it was just slightly got it wrong and he did try the right technique. I didn't see any arms in it at all.
No.
Did he just brace himself for the tackle, or do you think he just got the technique wrong? What happens in that situation where you're slightly off centre, you're going for it? Have you been in that situation before?
Not shoulder on head, but head on head. I guess.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, so many things come into play. Momentum, and I guess the energy in the game, and wanting to be, I guess, dominant in the tackle. So, yeah,
But you are supposed to bend at the hips and wrap your arms, eh?
Yeah.
That's fundamental.
Yeah.
But I noticed with him, he was just slightly on the side and it was in a very difficult position. And the other thing is that, the forwards coming through are bending down with their head and you're meant to then try and get even lower.
Yeah.
And then, you've got a split second, haven't you? So, and what do? Do you just let him go through? Like you say, you want to assert your dominance and sometimes you just get it wrong.
You do.
Yeah.
So it was split second decision making, and the funny thing is, he hit that guy with his shoulder, and the other fellow went off with a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah,
So,
he did.
Yeah. So, where the head contact came from must have been a part of it, clearly, because he got the red card. But
He
the
did.
real damage was done with the shoulder to shoulder.
He did, but I do find it difficult when, they say, well, you made contact with the head, but the forward's charging and then they just go down with the head. And as you say, if you get it wrong, sometimes you clash heads. So very difficult. Whereas, Barrett, that clean out, I think, did he really need to do that? And sometimes he, he just saw the opportunity, went for it, and perhaps he didn't need to. So,
look, I'm not going to beg the referees, though. There's a fundamental reason why they have the tackle law, and that's to protect the player. So, if you get it wrong, you take the just desserts, and if you get it right, you're fine. So,
And the good news is he's going to be back in time, hopefully, for the quarters. Yeah, that's right. Any other
be revealed in tackle school?
Yeah, that's right. Any other standouts for you watching that game, Levi?
No, I think just the obvious. I think Cam Roygaard was he had a blinder, and super happy for him. He's taking it with both hands. So
and it wasn't that sort of B teamish, was it? I mean, Ed Whitelock and Brodie Retallick as your locks. I mean, it was quite a strong side, wasn't it? Overall, just one or two tweaks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was the 9-10 combo that was exciting. Great to watch. And look, you take a margin of 71-3 any time against a team like Namibia. That's the highest score they've ever put up against them. So you come away happy. You've made some significant gains on your point differential.
And Namibia scored a try last World Cup. So, they kept them scoreless apart from the penalty. So they'll be fairly happy about that. But then they get a rest this week in Bordeaux. Not a bad spot to be. And they said that they're enjoying a bit of a break from rugby, and then they're going to come back fresh for the Italy game. This is a real danger, isn't it? Because if we don't get it right.
No danger.
There's no danger. Give them a week off. They'll come back. They'll put bloody 70 on them.
You said that about the France game.
No, I said.
And South Africa, for that matter.
Just concentrate on next week.
No, look,
I'm actually looking forward to Italy, Portugal. I think that's this weekend.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that'd be a good game.
Portugal might do us a favour here, mate.
Yeah, they did well against the French, didn't they? I thought they played well.
I think that'll be a decent game. But no, look, they'll be right, mate.
Yeah, they will be right, Chris. And it'll be a case of you put your best team on the park for this one, and then you've probably got to play what's close to your best team for the remainder of the competition. And just to get in the groove. So if you haven't had a game yet, you're not going to get one.
Well, look what happened to France and Portugal. If France hadn't got their act together, they might have got an upset against them. So, we do definitely have to be on our game. But what do we think going into the Italy game, Levi? Are you confident the boys are building?
Yeah, definitely. I think, the last couple of weeks they've probably had to deal with a lot, on the field and off. So a good week off, and I wouldn't say off, but downtime, and they'll come back here. They'll be all right.
Bit of navel gazing, probably not a bad time to go into this World Cup with a little bit of bad form and then build, which previous teams have done. Yep. And we've sort of fired straight away, and then got hicked up in the semis. So it is going to be interesting. All right. Well, South Africa and Ireland.
Sorry, do we mention Fiji, Australia?
Oh, yes.
Yes. We haven't, have we?
Yeah,
no, we haven't.
Honestly, I mean, I think we picked it. And, what a game. Fiji. Look out.
Did you say you picked that one?
Of course we picked it. The other one, the tip for this week, I think Argentina need to look out for Samoa as well.
Yeah, well, Argentina haven't had a great start, have they? And I didn't watch the Samoan game. Did you see the Samoan game?
No, I didn't.
No. So how did they look? Did you manage
They only played, I think it was Chile. So,
okay.
They got it done.
Yes, yeah.
But this will be the game that I reckon they'll be targeting in this pool round for sure.
So, Levi, you've got a bit of Fijian blood in you. You must have been wrapped with that result.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Even though you come from Australia. But
No, it was good. I mean, I think Fiji have really raised the bar for Pacific rugby.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and I think thanks to the draw that they've really built a platform for Fiji. So,
It's kind of Fiji rugby evolved. Remember the 15s game, well, I guess it was in the 80s. Great sides. And then it kind of all went off to the sevens, and the 15 game, got forgotten about a little bit. But now that's building back because, tremendous athletes and great rugby players. So, why not? Why wouldn't you put your effort into that area?
We were talking at the start of the competition about Australia being on the right side of the pool to get the easy run into the semi.
Right.
It's Fiji's run now.
Yeah. Well, look, I just went down to Wales and then got the win against Australia. Haven't got the draw with me, so I'm not sure who they got next. But every opportunity, isn't there?
Yeah, they've played the two other top teams in the pool.
Yes, they have.
So they'll assumedly cruise through the next two, and it's all down to Aussie and Wales to fight for second, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, so that Australia have got Wales next, haven't they?
Yes, they do. So a bit of a shout out to Ahi Waru Tharika Davida, who played a full 80 minutes for Fiji, our Tasman Mako lad. So proud of him.
Super, yeah.
You guys give him a shout out?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, we talk with them in our voice chat, and we're supporting them all the way.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Nice. Well done, Fiji. It was fantastic to watch. Yeah, bit of a job to do for Eddie.
Yeah.
So last but not least, that Wales versus Australia. Oh gosh, it's an interesting one to pick. So I'm going Wales. Yeah, Australia looked like they've got nothing really.
Yeah.
And they did nothing for their first fives confidence either. They've gone into this World Cup with 1-10 and they hook them after 50 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to do. They'll probably have to play a new first five and a different fullback because how would the kid like to be running out against Wales having been hooked so early in the last game?
Eddie will have something to say about it.
Yeah.
Just a young side, Yeah. Interesting, but not last actually, Les, because big one this weekend, South Africa versus Ireland. Test run. A test run, really, isn't it? For potentially, I don't know where they'll potentially meet. If they get through, that could be a semi or a final.
Yep.
If they do go through. So, what are our thoughts about that one?
Good question. I think I feel like South Africa are going to be strong enough to get it done, but it really depends on what kind of game the Irish can turn it into. If it. I assume though the Irish would like to see a bit more kicking and less physicality, but they could go the opposite way as well. It's
heaps of physicality coming their way. Again, South Africa has named a 7-forward bench.
Oh, they have.
So they've gone the 7-1 bench again. So
the bomb squad.
Yeah, they're just going to come and go at Johnny Sexton all day. Yeah. That said, though, I do like the Irish. I think that they've probably. Just a really good, disciplined team, well coached, and I think that Bundy Aki is the form midfielder.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Levi?
Yep, he's playing out of his skin.
Yeah. How old's the guy now? I mean, he must be in his mid-30s, but he's got pace, he's got power, and he's got skill.
Yeah,
he's the form 13.
So, what do you think, South Africa, Ireland? Hard to pick.
It's a hard pick, but I think Ireland. Yeah, we'll have to go with Ireland.
And I guess it all depends on South Africa's defence. So when when did we play them? I just remember. Or did they play against? Oh, it was England. It was the final last World Cup. They just created a wall, and there was no way that England were going to get through that. And so, if they can do a few moves and Bundy Aki through the gap, or all those little kicks over the top that Johnny Sexton does, and of course the kicking game. But they're going to have to move the big forwards around and try and tie them out. But when the bomb squad comes out, that's the thing, isn't it? They go through to half time, and then they just bring a whole new pack on. And so they go full foot unless one of them gets injured. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. All right, well, you're with the Mako Rugby Roundup, and it is our pleasure to welcome Tasman Mako 153 and new Crusader midfield signing, Levi Amua, to the podcast. It's great to have you with us on the show, Levi.
Cheers.
You're a Kiwi by birth, but you spent your younger years in Australia, over in Perth, and then Brisbane.
Yep.
Whereabouts in Perth were you mainly?
I was out East Perth.
East Perth?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and I played, went to school there, Guildford Grammar.
Guildford, right.
Yeah, and played for the Kalamunda Bulls. So
I did the Kalamunda.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I lived over there for a while, and I remember Neddies and Bayswater. I played for Central's touch football club over there back then. But I remember Kalamunda. There was a couple of boys out of that club that played over there. And then some time in Brisbane as well.
Yep, probably spent a bit of my my older teenage years in Brisbane. Went to Nudgee College over there, big rugby school. So yeah, was there for a bit, and then moved to Brisbane Grammar. So yeah,
right. So were you always a midfielder back then, or what positions did you play?
No, I wasn't.
No?
I've moved all over really. In my juniors, I think I was a hooker.
Oh.
So went from hooker, and then got a bit taller, got a bit fitter, and moved into 8. So I was an 8 all through first 15. It wasn't until I left school they put me in the midfield, and been there ever since. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so then when you were 20, you went to Bordeaux, so you know a lot about what the All Blacks are experiencing at the moment.
Yep.
So what inspired you to make that move?
I sort of wanted to because after straight out of school I went into the Broncos under-20s squad, and I decided that I wanted to move back to Union after a couple of years, and had a go at Aussie schoolboys, and nothing happened of that, and I thought, I'll go have a gig overseas, and Bordeaux is where I ended up.
2017, you're back in Brisbane playing senior club rugby for Souths.
Yep.
Now, I remember seeing a video of you playing for them, showed to me by the CEO. He said, "Have you seen anyone playing like this in our club rugby?" And I said, "No, I haven't." So I do believe that's the background to you getting some contact to come to Tasman.
It must have been, yeah. I was playing a few years of club rugby at Souths then. Who was it? I think it might have been, my agent called me up and said, "Oh, you hear of the Makos?" And I said, "I have no idea who the Mako." I don't watch ITM or whatever it was back then, and it was all just Australian rugby. So had a trial week over here, and I don't even know where Nelson was.
Which kind of segues nicely into the fact that you played out at Renwick, and then you played at Kahurangi.
Kahurangi,
and then you flat at my place for a night or two.
Right,
while you sorted out your accommodation, and you get a contract, right? So you signed for the 2017 NBC campaign. So talk about that cultural shift from big bad Brisbane to sleepy little Nelson and Renwick.
Oh, I mean, I hopped off the plane, and I've always been in a big city all my life, and coming to Nelson, I was like, "The heck is this place?" And it was freezing compared to Brisbane. I think I came in midwinter, and I was panicking a bit. I was like, where's the rest of this place? So, but obviously here for the rugby, and when I set foot into the Mako environment, it was a massive eye opener. So, in the fact,
as in the culture of the Mako setup,
how great it is.
So pretty much, I'm presuming we're talking about Tony, are we? Tony Lewis? So pretty much Tony Lewis contacted or got hold of your agent. Is that how it worked?
There was a coach you had, John someone. Anyway, he was the one who sent a video, I think. Anyway,
and then the phone call comes, and they say, "Right, get on a plane, and you're coming to Nelson Marlborough, top of South Districts.
Yep.
But first of all, you got to play for Kahurangi and Renwick."
Yep. I played one game for Kahurangi, and then they said, "Oh, look, I was here for a week. We'll be in touch." So I went back to Brisbane, and within 2-3 days, they said, "Oh, yep, well, we want you."
Oh, really?
Season,
so they sent you back on a plane.
Got back on the plane, and
so did you actually play for Renwick?
I think I played one game.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it wasn't until I think the following year.
Was that just to have a look at him, or was that sort of contractual, or if you're going to play rugby in New Zealand, you've got to play for a club?
They just wanted him to get some game time. Isn't that right?
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure the rule is if you play NPC or for the Mako, you got to align yourself with the club. You've got to join the club.
Yes,
so.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is.
Yeah.
He's a local boy.
Yeah. Right. So your first two seasons included for the Mako included playoffs beaten in the 2017 final and in 2018 in the semi-final, both to Canterbury.
Yep.
Did that sort of serve as a bit of motivation going into the 2019 season, and how good was it to finish that season a bit better off than the previous?
Yeah. Well, like I said, coming into New Zealand, ITM NPC Rugby, I didn't know who the greats or the big dogs were in the teams and in the competition. So first game up against Canterbury, you could really feel the difference in the rugby, and it was like big brother, small brother. So after losing that final, getting a good taste of ITM or NPC back then, it definitely helped me with my rugby. But yeah, I did have that little that grudge back against them for the following year in 2018, and we got a loss again. So I think going from every year now, Canterbury, I know we all want to front up, because I think you always want to get a win over those guys.
Bring on Saturday, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's definitely personal. Yeah.
So was it once you got there in that 2019 final, any fond memories or anything specific moments you sort of remember about winning that championship?
The final would have been against Wellington, I think.
Yeah.
I remember it was. I mean, I've only been in a few finals before. It was all club rugby, so this was definitely the big stage for me. And I do remember. I think Ben Lamb was still here, so, and he was a tough guy to tackle. So he was giving me a headache of a game to defense against. So I remember that, and yeah, I remember Will Jordan having a great game for us, and
Yes.
He's a guy you can always rely on in the 80th minute just to pull something out, and those sort of things. But the team we had was probably the most memorable thing. Good bunch of guys and a lot of experience.
And quite the celebrations in the old New Street Steakhouse afterwards,
Yeah.
from memory, and then watching the semi-final, was it, against the All Blacks? Unfortunately, they went down, but we didn't care, did we?
Well, that was against England, was it? Yeah. The Blues and the Chiefs both came calling, and you spent a season at each, but unfortunately, not so much rugby for you. So what was your time like at both of those clubs, and what was it like, I guess, going through that scenario of training hard and not being able to make the field so much?
So I guess my expectations weren't, I'm just not going to rock up and be a starter here. So I knew there was quite a bit of they had All Blacks in the midfield already, Anton Brown. Who else was there? Nanki was there already, so Alex Nankiville. So I guess not a whole lot of game time, a lot of training and sort of waiting for my moment and whatnot. And I guess it's fair to say, I've always struggled with my food. So having a battle with my weight and not playing, it was sort of just a cycle that I was stuck in for a while. Because I always loved food, and I couldn't get enough of it. So that probably hindered my time to get on the field. And
then in 2020 you make a decision to go to Japan, and again 2 seasons there, 2 clubs.
Yep.
And then was that a similar scenario, because the indication there is that also weren't able to make it on the park too often, or
no. The first year I went over, and within the week COVID hit. That's when COVID hit. So
right.
Couldn't play.
Yes.
Remembering 2020 COVID in Japan.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that's when the whole country went into lockdown.
Right.
I just got there, and I was pretty gutted. the following year, I played for Toyota Shoki down in Nagoya, and I think I played majority of the games there.
Oh, okay,
So,
right.
Yeah, I loved my time over there. It was good.
So what did you learn over there before coming back to, did you go back to New Zealand, come back to New Zealand?
Came back to, yeah.
So what did you learn over there? Was it a bit of a game changer for you, or?
Yeah. A few things, I guess. The how to train, because they're big trainers, the Japanese. They're pretty intense, and you can see it on the field. So my attention to training was probably lifted a bit, and also I still felt that hunger to play Super Rugby. I left here and I was like, I don't have to go to Japan. So yeah, I still wanted to come play Super Rugby. Felt like I had a few more games under my belt to play. So yeah, got on the phone to Goody and I begged them for a contract back. So yeah, so and then it all worked out. So yeah.
Well, there's no doubt that we were pleased to have you back, and then you were able to get stuck in. I remember you walking into the office and your body shape had changed. I think you called it your salmon and salad diet.
It's going to be quite a bit of rice and seafood, isn't it?
Oh, in Japan,
yeah.
Oh, it's dangerous, the food over there.
But you were in good nick, and then and subsequently you've been amazing for us, and you've earned your 50 game blazer. So congratulations on that, and how stoked are you about that achievement?
Oh, it's probably the biggest milestone or achievement for me in my rugby. Just walking into the TRU, you see all on the wall there's a lot of the Mako greats, or the boys there. So since day one walking there, I always felt that's where I want to be, up on that wall. So yeah, getting 50, I'm just super proud of it. Yeah.
Well, now there's only 20 of those posters in the team room, so you won a 20 to get their blazer, which is in itself a terrific achievement. So who presented you with your blazer, and what did they say to you?
It was Nanki. Yeah, Nanki presented it to me. Alex Nanki. He had some really good words to say. But the most of it was just apologies for spraying me for all these years. You guys probably don't know what he's like on the field, but he means well, but the way he gets it across is pretty red hot. So
he's quite direct.
Oh, yeah, he's quite too direct. But yeah, no, it's good. And Nanki's been there since day one. So he's a true Mako brother to me. And yeah.
Oh, that's cool, because I was going to ask you what your relationship is like with Alex Nankerville in the midfield, but you've answered that. So how do you complement each other's game? Because you are a very good 12-13 combination.
Yeah. Well, I guess having 6-7 years playing together, you start to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, we connect like that pretty well, and we both have different, sorts of attacking game. So he's quite a fast, weavy sort of, he's got some strength to him too, and he knows when to give it and when to kick or pass. So just running off him all day is probably it makes my job a whole lot easier. And you definitely can rely on him on in terms of defense. He prides himself on his defense. So trust is probably the main thing for us.
Awesome answer.
And just making sure he doesn't have a go at you. So I suppose it's you've learned how to handle that.
Yeah, you always get a bit anxious, Oh man,
I better be there, otherwise he's going to have a go.
Yeah, mate. So over the last couple of seasons, you got that second crack at Super Rugby with Moana.
Yep.
Breakout couple of seasons, I think, and led all kinds of statistics, especially in attack.
Yep.
You must have enjoyed your time up there with Moana, and what were some highlights?
Yeah. It's like I think it was a funny story. I guess I didn't know Moana was going to be become a team and into the Super Rugby. So getting a chance with them, I definitely felt the team I could definitely show my talent in, the way they structure their team. I guess it's a Pacific Island sort of style of play. And I thought, this is something I can do my thing, and we all sort of play alike, and big tackles, big runs, that sort of stuff. And it was really awesome to be part of that. But yeah, a few highlights would be playing with my other fellow Mako, Jim, Tamori. It's him and I guess we're always trying to have little stat competitions between us, who could beat more in this game. And sometimes we were in as we knew that we was on to pass, but we thought, no, it's you, I'm not giving it to you. So we're being a bit greedy there, and at the end of every game we're like, oh, how many did you beat?
That's awesome. I was actually going to ask you about that combination, but you've already bloody talked about it. You're on the case. No, it's good. Any overtures or thoughts in the back of your mind to join Samoa or Fiji for the World Cup? Or I remember, and this was only at bar level conversation, so it doesn't count for a lot, of course, but we were discussing potential fringe call-ups for All Blacks and things like that. Did those things sort of cross your mind?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was something I didn't want to think about too, this year, but given it was World Cup, I had to at least had to consider them. So yeah, to be honest with you, it wasn't really. And it wasn't always a dream to play international, specifically for Samoa or Fiji. I know mum and dad were wanting me to play for one of the two. So I know if I played for Samoa or one of them, it'd be a bit of a fight in the household. So I didn't want to
keep the peace.
I'll just say, I'm not playing.
Don't call me.
So yeah.
It's cool. It's good.
I've got a question around that, and one is that you're probably downplaying that a bit, because you may not have noticed, but when they were talking about the selections for the All Blacks, your name came up a lot, and that's a credit to you in the season that you had with Moana Pacifica. Aaron Major was the coach, wasn't he?
Moana? Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Number 12 for the All Blacks. What kind of did he have much of an influence on you and the way you play that midfield position? Or did he just say, play with what's in front of you and go for it?
Yeah, I guess it was a bit of both of that. I guess he wanted to make the game, the structure of how we play, specific to how, I guess the team, what the team was, each individual player was. So he gave us that freedom to sort of play how we felt we wanted to play. But specifically with me, he was a key mentor for me for the last 2 years, and on and off the field. So I know what he's done for the All Blacks, and yeah, I pretty much absorbed everything he gave me. So
what about your kicking game? Did he talk to you about?
Oh, yeah. He told me to strap my shins. So.
Don't kick.
He was quite a good kicker in his day, wasn't he? That was one thing he could pull out at number 12 was and so I'm just interested about that journey, because there was a lot of talk about making that side, and I'm sure you're going to say, well, it never really entered you. It's like Ethan was saying, well, it never really entered my mind because there's so many great players there and what will be, but it does give heart with the fact that your name come up a lot, and now you're on the bus to the Crusaders, and you have had some time in Canterbury previously with the younger lads. You spent some time down there, is that right?
No.
Oh, you've never. I had the impression that you had a bit of time down in the Canterbury way, but that might have been just taking them on with the Mako. But that being the case, though, Aaron Major's from Canterbury, and then Ray's has just left there. Was there any discussions around your development from coaches to you and that move to Canterbury? Why the move to Canterbury?
It was a.
Who got in touch with you?
I guess Canterbury got in touch with my agent directly. So they they did express interest for me to come down, and at the same time, there was a few options overseas, and the Blues were also asking, and so were the Landers. So I guess I was a bit torn. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and I felt my years, was sort of getting on in terms of rugby in New Zealand, and I wanted to. I felt like a bit of me wanted to go overseas and sort of start my career over there properly. So, it was a tough because all my family in Auckland. It was really just it was all over the show, to be honest. But it came down to where am I going to really be the best me in terms of my career, in terms of footy. Sorry, for the next 2 years, and I saw myself in a Canterbury jersey, in a Crusader jersey. So, being here in the Mako, you're around Canterbury boys, Mako boys, Crusader boys, and I've always heard about the culture and how they are down there, and they excel. So, hearing about it and all that sort of stuff, I just wanted to.
So, no whispers from Aaron Major to Razor, no phone calls from Razor.
No phone calls from Razor.
They don't give away a lot, do they?
No. But that Crusaders pathway,
yep.
All Blacks pathway.
Yeah, it's fair to say. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. So it was I guess a strategic move to increase chances, I guess, to make the All Blacks, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's still an ambition of mine. So
nice,
isn't that great? Because
that's fantastic.
If you've got that ambition, mate, you'll have 2 great years. So and very heartening, with the fact that there was a lot of positive energy around that time when they were talking about All Black roles, and your name did come up a lot, and that must sort of, I guess that's a bit of extra motivation, saying, maybe I am on the radar. You still got to play, you still got to do the business, but it does say to yourself, I've come this far, geez, maybe I can go to that next level. And that's some of the players that we have talked about those ebbs and flows in rugby, and how just hanging in there and playing against the best, and all of a sudden, you have a few wins, and nice. Hey, mate, we want to wish you all the very best against your old foe Canterbury on Saturday, that's for sure, and the Mako campaign to make the playoffs, and certainly an enjoyable and successful season with the Crusaders. It's going to be an exciting time ahead for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
Great to have you in, Levi. It's been great. All right, lads, and so we've discussed your weekend. It's basically here, isn't it? Because
not quite as intense as last weekend.
No,
I've got the Saturday morning off. We're not here at 6:30 for any All Blacks kickoff. So we sleep in Saturday morning, but we'll be fresh and ready by 4:00. That's for sure.
Are you doing the Sunday morning breakfast? Or
yeah, look, we basically, if it's a non-All Black game, we put it out on social media and see what the feedback is.
Right.
And if we get enough interest, we're ready and available. Always keen to put the footy on if people want to watch it. Yeah,
nice.
Sure.
And it's a good breakfast too. I had one last week.
Oh, you did?
So came in here for the.
I'll have to make the effort one day. I'll have to make the effort.
I'll shout, mate.
Ooh.
I'll
be there.
I'll come too.
You're cooking.
He's gonna cook his own one. He's just going to make a point of grabbing his own one and coming and sitting down on Les. So, Les, what happens to you this weekend?
4:35.
Are you going to take a break or?
No, 4:35. I absolutely got to watch Tasman v Canterbury. That'll be a rip snorter. 9:45 is it?
Still be up for the Warriors?
Yeah, 9:45.
Late night for you.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'll be there for the second half. I'll watch the kickoff. No, they're mean to me, aren't they? And then looking forward to South Africa Ireland.
Yeah, that'll be a good match. Yeah, great guys. Thank you very much once again. Thanks for coming in. Thank you to our listeners. Keep the comments coming, and we'll talk to you again next week.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. What's on, where and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. Talk Nelson Radio.